All right, so today we are tackling Richard Branson,
Richard Branson, The Virgin Way.
the Virgin Way.
Yeah.
You sent over this really interesting YouTube summary,
Yep.
and I think there's a lot to unpack here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A fascinating guy. I mean,
Yeah.
what's so interesting about Branson is he's this like paradox. He's a self-made billionaire,
Right.
but he also champions this idea of simplicity.
Yeah.
You know, he's a high school dropout,
Yeah.
but built this global empire.
It's true.
And that's what I think makes his approach so interesting to unpack.
Yeah, and this, I guess kind of unconventional way of thinking is really apparent right off the bat in the summary.
Yeah.
Because the first thing they focus on is this almost obsessive focus on listening that he has,
Yeah.
which kind of surprised me.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you think about Richard Branson, you think about, someone who's maybe a little more,
A little louder.
a little, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
a little more, wants to be the center of attention. But apparently this guy has been a meticulous note taker since his early days,
Absolutely.
which, I guess it makes sense, right? Because if you're taking notes, it means you're really absorbing the information.
Yeah. And I think for him,
Yeah.
it's not just about absorbing the information, but I think it's also about holding people accountable.
Ooh, that's a good point.
If you've ever been in a meeting with someone and they're taking notes,
Right?
they're paying attention,
It's a little intimidating.
it can be,
Yeah.
but it also shows that they value what you're saying.
That's true.
And I think that's something that he's really instilled in the Virgin Way.
So it's not just about being a fly on the wall and observing. It's about really engaging
Absolutely.
with what people are saying.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, some of the best leaders are the ones who are really good listeners.
That's very true.
They're not the ones who are always talking.
You're right.
They're the ones who are really taking in what other people are saying and using that to make informed decisions.
Yeah, and this point about, sometimes the best ideas can come from the most unexpected sources.
Right.
That really reminded me of the anecdote in here about him encountering the future founder of EasyJet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you telling me that Richard Branson, found time to sit down with this, young, inquisitive kid?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is back in the day, right, when he was first starting out.
Right.
And, Branson's always been somebody who's accessible.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to talk to anybody.
Okay.
And so this young entrepreneur was just, peppering him with questions, soaking up every word, notepad in hand.
Wow.
And, fast forward a few years and boom, EasyJet takes flight.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like you should be careful who you're mean to on the way up because you might meet them again on the way down.
Right. Exactly.
But in reverse.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we've got note-taking, we've got listening.
Check.
What else is in Branson's kind of entrepreneurial playbook here?
Well, he's also a huge advocate for simplicity.
Simplicity?
Okay.
Which might seem a little bit at odds with, his ventures into space travel and
Owning an island.
owning his own island, right?
Yeah.
But whether it's speeches, company missions, even internal memos,
Right.
he believes in cutting through the noise and getting straight to the heart of the matter.
It's like that no speech policy of his right,
Yes.
which I've got to admit, that one, when I first heard about it, I was like, what's...
It's very Branson.
Yeah.
Very on brand.
But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that's actually kind of brilliant.
It is.
Because it's like, why waste time with all the fluff?
Right.
Get
to the point.
And get to the point.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it kind of speaks to this idea that, clarity is key.
Clarity is key.
Like, if you can't explain something simply, then you probably don't understand it well enough yourself.
Exactly.
And, I think you could even see this reflected in some of Virgin's, most successful marketing campaigns.
Totally.
They're very to the point. They are.
Very memorable.
Yeah. I mean, you think about Virgin Active,
Yeah.
their mission statement is so simple.
What is it?
We make fitness accessible and affordable.
It's brilliant.
That's it.
In its simplicity.
That's it.
There's no corporate jargon, no, marketing fluff.
Right.
It's just this is what we do.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
This is who we are.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we've got listening, we've got simplicity.
Yeah.
What else are you going to tell me? It's just luck.
Well-
because I'm not buying it.
Branson does talk a lot about luck,
Okay.
but he firmly believes that you create your own luck.
Okay, so it's not just bumping into a fairy godmother and,
No.
getting your business wishes granted.
No.
Okay.
It's about constantly preparing yourself,
Uh-huh.
staying open to new opportunities, and then having the courage to seize those opportunities when they arise.
I like that.
Yeah,
So it's not just about being in the right place at the right time. It's about like putting in the work beforehand so that when that opportunity presents itself, you're ready.
exactly. And I think a perfect example of that is the story of Mike Oldfield's album Tubular Bells.
Oh, yeah. How that became a smash hit thanks to The Exorcist.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, some people might say that was just pure chance.
Right.
The director of The Exorcist just happened to be in a record executive's office when they were listening to Tubular Bells.
Okay.
But the crucial piece of that story
Yeah.
is that Branson had been relentlessly pitching that album.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Making sure that it was on everyone's radar.
So when the opportunity arose, Tubular Bells was ready.
Exactly.
I love that. That's a
Yeah.
great story.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think anybody listening can relate to, right?
Yes.
It's not just about, some magical thing. It's about putting in the work and being prepared for when that moment comes.
Preparedness.
Yeah,
Opportunity meets preparedness.
exactly.
That's where the magic happens.
Oh,
Yeah. It really is, though, isn't it? It's like that saying, luck favors the prepared, or however it goes.
100%. And I'm sure that also ties into his hiring philosophy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's known for surrounding himself with a really interesting and diverse group of people.
Yeah, he's not just looking for, you know, cookie cutter employees who are all going to think the same way.
No, not at all. In fact, he actively seeks out people who bring different perspectives to the table.
Which, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense because if everyone's on the same page,
Right.
then you're not really going to get very far, are you?
You're going to stagnate, right?
Yeah.
You need that diversity of thought. You need that clash of ideas to really spark innovation.
And that kind of reminds me of something else I wanted to touch on, which is this whole idea of fun being important in the workplace.
Yes, that's a huge part of the Virgin Way.
Right, because you don't necessarily think of, fun and business as being two things that go hand in hand.
No, not traditionally, but Branson's really flipped that on its head.
Totally. And it's not just about, having a ping pong table in the break room.
Right. It's about creating a culture where people are excited to come to work every day.
Yeah, they feel valued, they feel supported, they feel like they can be themselves.
Exactly. And that kind of environment fosters creativity. It fosters collaboration. It fosters a sense of community.
Right, because when you're having fun, you're more likely to think outside the box.
Absolutely.
Take risks, come up with new ideas.
And not be afraid to fail.
That's a good point because I feel like a lot of companies are so afraid of failure
Right.
that they stifle creativity.
They punish it almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Branson's like, embrace the failures, learn from them, and move on.
It's like that whole idea of, failing forward,
Got
which
it.
I think is so important. And it's something that you see time and time again in the stories of successful entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, because if you're not willing to fail, you're never going to achieve anything truly great.
Right. You got to be willing to push the boundaries,
That's
take
right.
those risks.
And trust your gut.
Yes. Trusting your gut, that's another big one.
Huge.
Because sometimes you just have to go with your instincts, even if you don't have all the data to back it up.
And that can be scary,
It can be terrifying.
but it can also be incredibly rewarding.
Because the best ideas often come from those gut feelings.
Exactly, the ones that you can't always explain on paper.
Okay, so we've got listening, we've got simplicity, we've got creating your own luck, we've got fun, we've got trusting your gut.
It's quite the recipe, isn't it?
It really is. And I think one of the things that really struck me about this summary
Yeah.
is that it's not just about building a successful business for Branson.
No.
It's about using that success to make a difference in the world.
Absolutely. He's a firm believer in that.
Right, and that's something that I think is so important, especially in today's world.
It's not enough anymore to just make money.
Right.
You have to give back.
Exactly. And, Branson's not just talking the talk. He's walking the walk with initiatives like the Carbon War Room
Right.
and the B Team.
He's putting his money where his mouth is,
Exactly.
which is really refreshing to see.
It is. And, it's not just about these big, grand gestures either. It's
Mhm.
about the small things, too.
Absolutely.
Like the summary mentions how Virgin Atlantic started sourcing snacks from startups.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example of
Oh,
how
wow.
he's using his platform
Yeah.
to support other entrepreneurs.
And give back to the community.
Exactly.
So it's not about, waiting until you're a billionaire to start making a difference.
No, you can start right now,
Exactly.
wherever you are with what you have.
And I think that's a really powerful message.
It is.
It's something that we can all aspire to,
Absolutely.
no matter what our goals are.
Yeah. Find ways to make a positive impact,
Exactly.
even if it's just in your own small corner of the world.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one key element of the Virgin Way that we haven't touched on yet. And it's a big one, like maybe the biggest one.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
the
know.
heart of it all, really.
Right?
This idea of doing good,
Yeah.
this belief that businesses have a responsibility to make the world a better place.
So it's not just about the bottom line.
No, exactly. It's about using your success, your platform, to give back, to make a difference.
I love that. But, it's like doing good is such a big concept.
It is. It's huge.
How do you even begin to define that?
Well, and I think that's part of the beauty of it.
Okay.
There's no one right way to do it.
Okay.
It's not about checking boxes or following some kind of formula.
Right.
It's about finding what resonates with you.
So it's more about like following your heart than following a rule book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about?
Mm.
What gets you fired up? What keeps you up at night?
Okay.
And then how can you use your business to make a difference in that area?
Like for Branson, it's things like climate change and
Right.
global poverty.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He's tackling those issues head on with initiatives like the Carbon War Room and Virgin Unite.
It's really inspiring.
It is. And, it doesn't have to be something that grand. It doesn't have to be on a global scale.
Right.
You can start small, supporting local charities, implementing sustainable business practices.
Creating a more inclusive workplace.
Exactly. Those are all ways to do good.
It's about making conscious choices in every aspect of your business.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that anyone listening can take away from this.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Richard Branson to make a difference.
Right.
You can start right where you are with what you have.
So find your passion, find your purpose, and then go out there and make it happen.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to think outside the box, to challenge the status quo.
Because that's how real change happens, right?
Absolutely. It's about being bold. It's
I love
about
it.
being daring. It's about being a little bit Branson.
I love it. Well said.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom you want to leave our listeners with?
Just the world needs more people who are willing to step up and make a difference.
Hear, hear, couldn't agree more.
So go out there and be the change you want to see.
Beautifully said. Well, that was fantastic. Really insightful stuff about Richard Branson and the Virgin Way.
He's a fascinating guy.
He really is. And I think there's a lot we can all learn from him.
Absolutely.
So that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.